those parts and pieces that you said that the Eagles have built around Jalen Hurts, is this a system thing? And it could be any quarterback that could come in there and be that guy, or is it actually Jalen Hurts, Holmes?
I think look, I do think that there's a couple guys that you could probably put in that system that would succeed just like Jalen Hurts is. But I think that it is few and far between. You could probably put a handful of guys. You put Patrick Mahomes there, and they probably are successful. They probably win that Super Bowl last night if Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. You could put Justin Fields in that play because he plays the same style of football that Jalen Hurts does. You could look at guys like Lamar Jackson. Those types of guys could probably be successful. Well, maybe not Lamar because you do have to be good with throwing the ball in this system as well. But there's a few quarterbacks, but like I said, it's few and far between, and it's because again they're a great organization. They've put a winning product around a good quarterback, and that is the key. I mean, I've got to give Philadelphia all the credit in the world. From the ownership, I can't remember the owner's name at this point in time, but from the owner down to the GM down to the coaching staff, they've done a great job of putting this together and making this work because let's face it, before the season, we were talking about the NFC East being the worst division in football, and there was no way none of these teams, maybe the Cowboys, would be in the Super Bowl. And here you are with the Eagles having, Jalen Hurts was what 15-1 this year
16
as a
1
starting quarterback.
Yep, 16-1.
Yeah, you did that with a guy who for the last 2 years just hasn't been able to do that, and so there's a lot of moving pieces here, but it's an organizational thing. And yes, I mean, yeah, to answer your question, there are a couple quarterbacks you could put in the system that would be just as successful, but that's not a knock on Jalen Hurts whatsoever because you still have to do your thing.
Right.
You
So
still have to do your thing. It's not like you could just go ahead and put, Chad Henne back there or even, Soup Boss's boy Gardner Minshew.
right.
Gardner Minshew is an everyday starter, every week starter. They're not in the same position they are yesterday.
He's an everyday garbage man. But it is funny that like you said, if you put Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles, they probably win the Super Bowl. I think Jalen Hurts on the Eagles is better than Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles. To be honest with you, just because
go ahead.
like they don't predicate themselves on that big explosive play. They predicate themselves on nickel and dime you down the field. If the big play's there, yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to throw it to AJ Brown and throw a perfect dot, right? But
Right.
Patrick Mahomes almost gets complacent, right? He doesn't like to nickel and dime down the field, and he's going to start showing that emotion. And like I think if Patrick Mahomes and Nick Sirianni were a match, right? Think about that explosive sideline. Patrick Mahomes' emotion with like Nick's motion, like it would be a disaster. Jalen Hurts and Nick is just like a perfect yin and yang. Like they balance each other out.